Good afternoon, YouTube. So this is the ice maker out of my Whirlpool refrigerator. And the reason I have it out of the refrigerator is this had started leaking water. I would get initially just a few drips coming out of here and a little bit of ice forming, and then over the weeks it got maybe a 1/4 inch diameter icicle in there, and by the end the whole bottom of this would be covered after each ice cube cycle. I took it out of the freezer, got it all defrosted. It was leaking like right through here between the tray and the black plastic. You can kind of see where there's a water stain there. It was coming out this seam right here. So I thought there might be some sort of water tube that might not be connected solidly, or some sort of level sensor. I don't know how these work inside, but when I got it defrosted, I found out that it was actually this plastic lining that they put on the ice cube tray, and I guess this is some sort of anti-stick material so that the ice cubes don't stick in here. The refrigerator was put in 2007, so I had the original ice cube maker repaired under warranty. I have a bunch of extra parts left over from that repair. The guy left that with me, and I think what he replaced and what he showed me was the problem is this coil right here is the defrost coil. If you look here, they call this a 185W-115V, so it's a 185 watt heater coil and 115 volt 60 hertz power. And what had happened was this coil here had burned open. So the way it works is once the ice cubes are frozen, and then it heats up this coil and warms up the tray so that the ice cubes release, and this ejects the cubes, and then it does a fill cycle from here and then repeats. So this was okay. I think this was okay on even on the original one. You can see there, this was the original one, January of 2007. Okay, yeah, I couldn't read the really fine print there, but that's 2010, so it's 10 years old. I think he brought out a whole new ice maker and then put it in, and he gave me this, the old piece that was still good off of the old one. He must have thrown the rest of this away. So anyway, when I looked at the ice cube tray and how it was chewed up here, apparently that's the real problem, and it's probably just wicking water up through this edge of the tray, and then it's leaking out, and there's really no way to repair that. I don't know how to recoat that thing. Okay, I was able to get those two screws out. They were pretty corroded into this pot metal casting. So that's the end there where it was leaking. Must have been wicking up under this plastic coating and then dripping down. You can see the water was getting in there, and then a lot of water stain, hard water stains on the plastic part. Okay, YouTube, I did a little bit of digging around and I found this really handy document, Modular Ice Maker Service Sheet, and I'll put a link to this in the video description. It's a really good page. It describes all of these test points and what all the parts are. So you've got the mold heater, which is in the bottom of the ice cube tray, 185 watts, 72 ohms. There's the thermostat, closes at 17 Fahrenheit. So this is actually a bimetal switch. That's what that is, and it closes just below freezing. So you have to have this thing in the freezer and cold before this will start. It's not going to fill the ice cube tray if it's sitting out on the counter because it's too warm. It'll never freeze. That's what this test point EH does. You can check for voltage there. You either get line voltage between those two pins, which are, let's see, that's these two, the T and H, or you get 0 volts if that switch is closed. So if you have this thing in the freezer and you probe those 2 points, you'll get 0 volts. And if you probe line L And N, line and neutral, that's your 120 volt AC power. And then let's see, M is the motor power, so that's power going to the synchronous motor here. And then what is V? Oh, V is the valve, so that's your water valve. This is your water level adjustment screw. That's this thing on the side. The water filling is done based on this. This sets the time that the water valve is open. So the water valve has got a calibrated flow rate, and then this screw adjusts the timing a little longer or a little shorter depending on how much water is filling the tray. Good morning, YouTube. The replacement ice maker showed up last night. Here's the new part number, if you can see there, W101-90965. And here was the old part number that I was working off of, 101-90934. So these, I think, are identical. And if you look there, there's the new one, there's the old one. Uses the same 3 screws to mount, same jumpers and test points, and it's even the same FSP part number there. So this FSP, I can't find any links to their company information, but this was like $68 and it's definitely a complete unit. So let me flip it around. All I had to do was screw this bracket on the bottom here, and then I had to plug in the connector. And it's got the same wiring order, green, brown, white, black. Yeah, just want to check this. So this is the connector for the other end. And yep, green on top, brown, and then they swap the black and white wires. Same screw hole locations there. So I was looking around online, and apparently these ice cube trays, they also are called molds or cups, have a coating on them, and you can see there, one place referred to this as a Teflon coating. It's really thick. It's almost like a powder coating application, or maybe I don't know if they dip this thing into a molten vat of plastic. It's probably like a powder coating material. They probably spray it on electrostatically and then bake it in. The design lifetime of this coating is 10 years. How old is this? It's about 10 years old. So apparently this is kind of expected to happen after about 10 years. So let's go try to put this in the freezer and see if it fires up. Okay, YouTube, that's where the old ice maker went. There's the 2 screw holes on top, one in the bottom. There's the water fill valve right there and the connector for the wires. Okay, I guess first off you need to connect the connector back together and just make sure to line up the wire colors. So you got white on that end, green on that end, and then I can slide the wiring harness back into that hole and then get the water fill spout here into that hole, and then you can get the screws in. Okay, we had success, YouTube. It took about 45 minutes for this to cool down. I didn't hear the water, but I've got a tray full of water that's just starting to freeze. So I guess this went around, did a full cycle, and got success. It took about an hour and 40 minutes. We got a first batch of ice, and yeah, looks like everything works. It ejected the ice, it reset. And yeah, the tray is full of water in there, so yeah, I think it's good. I'm going to dump out this first batch of ice in case it's got any debris or film that's on the ice cube tray, but I think we're back in business. So yeah, that was a pretty easy repair. I think the ice maker is working fine. I'm not going to adjust the water level. Looks like it's settled down and making the normal size ice cubes that it was before. Yeah, this thing filled up in about 24 hours. I've already taken a couple glassfuls of ice out of there, but yeah, looks like it works fine. So like I said, I'll put links to this part in the video description if you have a similar ice maker there. I think these are pretty standardized. You just have to, like I say, make sure you get the right number of cubes, the right mounting tabs. So this had 3 tabs, 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. Then it had a 4-pin connector, and also dumps ice out to the right side. So you have to get all those things right. But yeah, I think the big thing is just find one that looks right if you can't find the exact part number, and chances are it will be the right one. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that repair. I've got ice now. If you have any questions, post up in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.